Hello and welcome to episode 24 of Things I've Learned from Barry Harris. Today I thought we would discuss a very important topic to Barry, which is triplets and soloing using triplets. So I thought we would use the song Perdido as a vehicle to show an example of it. So maybe I'll show the scales for Perdido first, and then we'll work on things to do. So the first part of Perdido, it's a basic song. It starts on C minor 7 for a measure, F7 for a measure, B flat major for a measure, G7 for a measure, C minor 7, F7, B flat again. So now when we're going to do the scales for that, we're going to play F7 up and down, B flat major up and down to the third of G. F7 up and down again, then B flat major up and down to the third of G again. Now that's 1A if we do it twice. We'll do it a second time, and the second ending will just be B flat major up and down. The bridge is the exact bridge from I Got Rhythm in the key of B flat, which would start on D7, which would be two measures of D7, so it's D7 up and down. Then G7 up and down, then C7 up and down, then F7 up and down. And then it starts over again, F7 up and down, B flat major up and down to the third of G, F7 up and down again, then B flat major up and down again to the third G, which is going to take you back. So the point is there's a lot of F7s, B flat major up and down to the third G, but a key point is when you're playing a measure of C minor then to a measure of F7, as I've talked about in previous episodes, Barry doesn't see that as C minor to F7, he just sees that as F7. So there are certain rules for dominant scales that he talks about, which I'm going to discuss. And let's start just with the tonic. So the tonic of F7, and he would say if you're starting on a tonic, the rule for the tonic is, now this is starting on a downbeat, the rule for the tonic is 1/2 step between tonic and 7. So that's tonic. Again, tonic. So that's the rule for the tonic. So now if we were just going to play that, that's fine, which is nice, but it's a little bit eighth note-y. So Barry likes to liven things up with triplets. Liven things up is probably not the right expression, but to make it a little more interesting. So there's two kinds of triplets. There's an eighth note triplet. Now the rule for the eighth note triplet is it's not the note that you start on for the triplet, it's the middle note of the triplet. So in this case, the triplet is between the tonic and the second, and then it goes back to tonic. So that's the triplet. So the rule is, for an eighth note triplet, you use the middle note. So the middle note there would be the second. Now, the rule for the second in dominance, in his half-step rules, is no half steps. So if we were going to play a phrase, we would use no half steps. So let's try that. I just came up with the diminished when I got to the third, but that's no half steps. And that's with an eighth note triplet. Now, if we used a 16th note triplet starting from the tonic, a 16th note triplet is a faster triplet, and the 16th note triplet uses the rule for whatever note you start on. So the 8th note triplet was the rule for the middle note of the triplet. The rule for the 16th note triplet is whatever note you start on, that's what rule you're going to use. So in this instance, we're starting on the F, which is the tonic, and as we know, as we just discussed, the rule is 1/2 step between tonic and 7. So it would be this. So it's 1/2 step still, but using a 16th note triplet. So those are nice little things that you can do. So now it changes the sound of your phrase. So we started with, which is pretty, but now if we put an 8th note triplet, it sounds like this, which is really pretty. And then if we do a 16th note triplet, it sounds like this. So you see the difference, and it's using exactly the same notes except just putting a triplet and different kinds of triplets. Now let's say we're going to use the rule for the second. The rule for the second is no half steps or 2 half steps. So let's just play, let's do no half steps first. So that was a nice one, just no half steps. Now let's use 2 half steps. Rule for the second. 1, 2, 3. That's a nice one too, 2 half steps. But if we want to add triplets, we could say, okay, so let's use an 8th note triplet. If we used an 8th note triplet, now we're going to do a triplet between the 2nd and the 3rd. So now it kind of messes things up because we're now not going to use the rules for the 2nd, but we're going to use the rules for the 3rd. And the rules for the 3rd happen to be the same as the tonic, so we'll use 1/2 step. So if we use an 8th note triplet starting on the 2nd, the triplet is between 2nd, 3rd, 2nd. So that's going to be following the middle note, which is the 3rd. So let's see what that sounds like. Which is a nice thing, 8th note. So that's an 8th note triplet. Now if we use a 16th note triplet, it goes back to starting on the note you started on, which is the 2nd, and you're going to again do a quicker triplet, a 16th note triplet, and we're going to use the rule for the note we started on. So the 2nd was no half steps, so let's see what that sounds like. Which is really pretty, so try it again. Anyway, now let's use the rule for the 2nd, which is 2 half steps also, which is the half steps are between 2nd and tonic, tonic and 7, with a 16th note triplet, which sound like this. That sound is so nice. See? Really pretty. Or you could, now let's do 3rd. Let's start on the 3rd, which is the 3rd, and let's just do 3, which is 1/2. The rule for 3 is 1/2 step or 3 half steps. The 1/2 step was between tonic and 7. The 3 half steps are between 3 and 2, 2 and 1, tonic and 7. So let's try 3 with 1/2 step. That sounded good. So now let's do 3 half steps starting on the 3rd. And the 3 half steps again between 3rd and 2nd, 2nd and tonic, tonic and 7. So let's say. Really pretty. Maybe let's start on the first beat. 1, 2, 3. That's starting on the first beat. So now let's add something to it. Let's do a triplet starting on the 3rd. Let's do an 8th note triplet, and we're going to do between 3 and 4. So now we'll say between 3 and 4, and we have to use the rule for 4, because once again, the rule for the 8th note is you have to use the rule for the middle note, which would be the 4 in this case. So the rule for 4 is the same as 2. No half steps, so let's try that one. Which is really pretty. Let's use the second rule, which is 2 half steps between 2nd and tonic, tonic and 7th. Also pretty. Now let's use the 16th, the rule for the 16th note triplet. So again, starting on the 3rd, the rule for the 16th note triplet is it takes the rules for the note you're starting on the triplet. So now we'll use 16th note triplet starting on the 3rd. The first one is 1 half step between tonic and 7, so it would be this. Let's see. Oh no, would be 3. That's it. So 1 half step. 1, 2, 3. So there is the triplet. And I actually put 2 in. I put 1 right as you did the half step. So I said, which is also nice. It's also 3 half steps. So let's try that. So that means between 3 and 2, 2 and 1, tonic and 7. Let's see. That's a nice one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Also nice. Now let's put some triplets in other spots. So for instance, if we just did that last one with we had 3 half steps, and I put a 16th note triplet. I could have really done them in a lot of spots. So what Barry emphasizes is once you get used to doing them, you just kind of throw them in. Like if we did, let's see, which I don't know if this is the nicest sounding thing, but let's see. It's kind of exaggerated, but just to show you the idea about it. Now, again, you practice these with the concept in mind that you want to get them in your fingers. It helps you, as a guitar player at least, to see different areas of F7. Because sometimes you might want to play F7 here. But if you notice, I switched to here when I wanted to get certain triplets, certain 16th note triplets. So it makes you see your fretboard much better for guitar players. And it also makes you try different things on normal phrases that you've normally played. If you throw in a 16th note triplet or an 8th note triplet on phrases that you used to, some of what you would call like your own stock phrases, it really livens things up, and it makes it sound more authentic to, I guess, what people would consider the bebop era. But triplets are so beautiful that it shouldn't just be relegated to just the bebop era. It's a lot of eras. But yeah, it's helped me to see my fretboard much better, and it's helped me to, it's helped technically also, but, and again, it makes it sound more authentic. So take anything on F7, any phrase that you're used to playing, and try to put a triplet in it, and see what happens. Try an 8th note triplet, try a 16th note triplet. See if you land up correctly. If you don't land on the right beat, or if you land on an off beat instead of on a down beat, you say, okay, well, let me try to throw in a half step. Let's see where it is. Let's see where I am in the scale. So my suggestion would be, if this is a little overwhelming to you, I made an episode, I don't remember which one, I'll probably link to it on the bottom, about the rules for the half steps. And the rules for the half steps, it might seem difficult at first, but once you get them in your fingers, it makes things very easy, very easy. And it shows you that then there's no such thing as a bebop scale, or there's no such thing as a bebop major scale, or anything like that. It's just F7 scale, or it's just a B flat major scale. So yeah, I hope this was insightful and a little helpful. And again, I'm enjoying the comments down below and the discussing of how to practice and different things. So keep it up. I'm really enjoying making these videos. Hopefully I'll start making them more regularly now that it's back into September. So enjoy episode 24 and working on your triplets. Until next time. Thanks.